Well, hey, everybody, and welcome to Central at Home. And such an honor that you could join us today. Happy New Year to you. And you picked a great week to be with us. We're kicking off a brand new series today, and so glad that you could join us wherever or however you're watching this. We're just so honored that you've decided to spend the next 45 minutes here with us. Well, we're about to get started. Why don't you take a moment right now, pull out your phone, and why don't you share this? Listen, one of the most effective ways that we have as a community to share this amazing message of hope is through technology. We want to encourage you to do that. You could share this on whatever platform you find yourself on, whether that's YouTube or Facebook or Church Online. Why don't you help us spread this amazing message of hope that we have to a world that desperately needs it? Now, everything that we do happens because of your generosity, and so we want to thank you. You are such an incredibly generous church, and so many of you give sacrificially every single week, and so we want to thank you for that. And we also want to invite you, if you haven't yet partnered with us, you can do that by heading over to centralcc.ca/give, and you can set up a one-time gift or regular ongoing giving. Either way, everything that we do happens because of you, so thank you so much for partnering in advance with us. Hey, listen, today, why don't you take a moment to connect with God? I just believe He wants to meet you right here, right now, and I believe He wants to speak to your heart. He wants to encourage you that this year, there is hope for you. And so today, I want to encourage you to set some time aside just to allow God to meet you right here and right now. We also want to help you do that with others in our amazing community here at Central. There's 4 ways that you can do that. The first is by watching our Central at Home experience. You can connect in the comments. You can join a prayer window. We'd love to be able to pray with you and help you if we can. You can be a part of a group. We do also want to highlight something we're really excited about this year, our 21 days of prayer. And so those are coming up starting January 11th. That's a Monday. And all the details will be on the screen for that. You can also head over to centralcc.ca/connect. But we'd love for you to join with us in praying, believing for God to move and to work over 2021. So would you join us for the 21 days of prayer? Well, that's all for me. If you have any questions or you would like to get connected, make sure to head over to our website, centralcc.ca/connect, or you could text the word Central to 905-937-5610. Thanks for being with us. The moment you're waiting for is finally here. Our experience is about to begin, and it all starts right now.
Now the darkness fades into new beginnings as we lift our eyes to a hope beyond. All creation waits with an expectation to declare the reign of the Lord our God. We will not be moved when the earth gives way. For the risen one is overcome, and for every fear there's an empty grave. For the risen one is overcome. Now the silence breaks in the name of Jesus, as the heavens cry, let the earth respond. All creation shouts with the voice of triumph to declare the reign of the Lord our God. To reign, we will not be moved when the earth gives way. For the risen one is overcome, and for every fear there's an empty grave. For the risen one is overcome. We will not be moved when the earth gives way. For the risen one is overcome. And for every fear, there's an empty grave. For the risen one is overcome.
Yes, our God. Oh, you're bigger. Oh, bigger. Yes, our God has overcome. He's bigger than anything we face. And He's here right now. He's with you right now. He's with me. Oh, God, we need you. We need you. Oh, yeah. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. Let's sing that again. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you, yes, I worship you. You are waymaker,
stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Yeah. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Come on. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. 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 Yes, you are. Oh, you're the light we need. Oh, you're the strength we need. Yes, you're everything we need. Oh, God. Oh, He never stops working. He never stops working. No. For our good, for your good, yes. Even when you don't see him, he's working. Even when you don't feel him, he's working. He never stops. No, he never stops.
Dear 2020,
We need to talk. I'm not sure how to say this, but this isn't working.
I'm tired. I'm afraid. I've let you in and you've cost me everything.
My dreams, my peace of mind, my sanity. And you're not changing.
So I am. I'm moving on.
The cost is just too high. So I guess this is goodbye.
I've got a life to live,
And I'm gonna live it.
and I'm gonna live it.
I'm gonna live it.
Well, Happy New Year. A new year always means new beginnings. I'm super excited about that. And if you have been watching all through 2020, you're a regular part of our church family and you make this a part of your regular week, thank you so much. It is such a great family to be a part of. And if you're just joining us for the very first time, maybe you joined us Christmas Eve online and now you're coming to check us out, thank you so much. I just realized that there are so many other things you could be doing and so many other places you could be right now, but you chose to be with us in this moment and invite us into your home, and I am truly grateful. So Happy New Year to you and all of you. May 2021 be the best year you've ever had, and I mean that sincerely. But I don't know if you're like me. Every new year is like the beginning, the opportunity to kind of revisit my past and to think about my future and what I need to change. And so maybe you're like me and you're like, you know what? I'm kind of done with 2020. I'm kind of done with the old me, the old experiences and circumstances, and I want something new. But maybe like me, you're also asking the question, well, how though? How do I get something new, something better in my life? And the answer is simply have a target to shoot for. Now, I know it sounds overly simplistic. When I was growing up, I went to a camp, and one of the things they offered was archery. And I thought that would be amazing. I mean, who doesn't want to shoot bows and arrows, right? And so I thought it'd be really easy. You just pick up a bow, shoot it at the arrow, and hit the target. Well, it's apparently, and it isn't easy at all. It was actually really difficult. I had to learn, first of all, how to pull the weight of that bow back. I had to learn how to set the arrow properly so it didn't, hit my fingers on the way out. I had to learn how to accommodate for the distance of the target and the wind speed, all of these factors. What I learned is to be effective in archery is actually kind of the same thing in life. You need focus and discipline. It's not enough just to see a target. You actually have to have focus and discipline to hit the target. So the question is, well, okay, what should I be shooting at then? Well, maybe the question isn't what, but rather who. What if you changed your language to who should I be rather than what I should accomplish? I mean, think about it this way. Who motivated and inspired you in your life? My guess is that there are some great people in your life. Maybe it was a parent, maybe it was a teacher, maybe it was a coach, maybe it was a friend, maybe it was a great historical figure, maybe it was a fantasy figure. I don't know, but there was someone in your life who you said, man, I want to be like that. And if I'm honest in my life, there have been people like that. My mom and dad, they taught me about what a good parent was like. When I had my kids, I wanted to be like them. I had a coach who believed in me, and I wanted to be a person like that who believed in others. I had friends who were there for me when no one else was, and I wanted to be like that. I wanted to be like them. And finally, I'm a follower of Christ. Why? Because I believe that Jesus is the best example of what love really looks like in this world that is so broken and hurting. He was the perfect example of how you could live in such a way that you weren't destroyed by it, but rather you conquered it. And I learned through him that love always wins. Now, the interesting thing about this is that I've tried to articulate this to a lot of my friends. And a lot of people will ask me, like, what do you really believe? And here's what I actually believe for you and for me. I believe, first and foremost, that you and I were created to make this world a better place. I just don't believe we're here by accident. I think we were created with purpose. Second, I honestly believe that love is the only thing that will do that. Love is the only thing that will make this world the place it should be. And finally, I follow Jesus because, in my opinion, he's just simply the best example. He is the target, the mark for what that really looks like. And so we need to know that when Jesus came at Christmas, it wasn't just to be a baby, and it wasn't just to live in existence. It was actually to teach. He came to teach us and model something for us. He came to literally save us. And maybe that's kind of a new idea for you. Like, well, save us from what? Well, that's found in the words that he would articulate over and over to people when he was walking on this earth. He would say these three words: come, follow me. Okay, come follow you where? Like, is it a location? No. It was a purpose. It was to follow him back to who you were created to be, really created to be. We read this in Matthew chapter 4, verse 18, where it says, as Jesus was walking beside the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon, called Peter, and his brother Andrew. So Simon and Andrew are just doing what most of us do. They're just trying to exist, make a decent living, take care of their family, not try to get into too much trouble, live a decent life. And so they were casting a net into the lake. Why? Because that's what they were. They were fishermen. And Jesus said these three transformative, powerful words that if you grab a hold of, I promise will make 2021 amazing. He said, come, follow me, and I will make you fish for people. And it says all at once, they left their nets and followed him. I remember the first time I tried out for an organized sport in high school. Having recently moved into the area, I was the outsider trying to break into an established system. I remember walking into the gym completely overwhelmed by what I had signed up for. I mean, the sight of the championship banners that covered the walls and the athletes who honestly all looked like they were 3 years older than me brought on both the sensation of nausea and wonder. I was overcome with the realization that, you know what? I was not good enough to even be in this space. I was too small, too slow, too awkward, and too afraid. And then it happened. Something that would literally set my trajectory toward one of the most rewarding seasons of my life. A large man with a very square jaw, his shirt stretched tight across his massive frame, disrupted my bewilderment by simply reaching out his hand and with a booming voice proclaiming, "I am Coach Simmons, welcome." You know, I really don't remember anything he said after that, just the invitation, "Welcome to this space." In that moment, all I could think of was, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this team. I may have been undersized, and I may not have been that uncoordinated, but I was determined not to be outworked by anyone. Now I know, some might argue it was pride, but I honestly felt it was about more than mere personal gain. You know, it was about being a part of something bigger than me, to belong, to participate, to contribute. Somehow, I guess my sheer will and determination impressed the coach. After the tryouts, he sat down with me and asked, "So you really want to be on this team, don't you?" I'll be honest, I was trying just not to cry in the moment, but somehow I did manage to sputter out the words, "more than anything." And then it happened. Words I will never forget. The coach said, "Well, I think there's a spot for you." Words aren't even adequate to express how overwhelmed I felt in that moment. I mean, I was accepted. I had purpose. I was on the team. You know, years later, I often think back on that moment because it was approximately 35 years ago when God invited me to be on his team, to be a part of something much bigger than myself. Now, saying yes to God's team has not always been easy. There have been times when I felt that God made a mistake and should have chosen someone more talented or more courageous, maybe even more faithful than me. But every time, I have come back to the same awareness that God doesn't use people based on their talent. He uses them because they're willing. Willing to listen to the coach, for he's the one who determines the strategy. Willing to put oneself into a position through discipline to make the most of every opportunity given. Willing to lay aside being a distraction by putting the team first. And so, today, God is inviting you to be on his team, to belong to a group of people committed to not only experiencing God's transformative love, but also to express this love in every aspect of life. It's an invitation to die to yourself so that you may truly live. So, what is this invitation? Well, the invitation of Jesus, when he said, "Come follow me," is actually into a new way of living, a new way of thinking, a new way of speaking, a new way of acting. It was a call back to who we were designed to be. In another story we read in Matthew chapter 9, it says that Jesus went on from there and he saw a man named Matthew sitting at a tax collector's booth. Now, you need to know something about tax collectors in this context. They were hated. They were considered unclean. They were considered cheats, thieves. They took money from people. They lived extravagant lives. Nobody liked the tax collectors, especially the religious leaders. And Jesus looks at this man who society had kind of pushed out and he says, "Come, follow me." And it says Matthew got up and followed him. Now, while Jesus was having dinner at Matthew's house, you see, here's the interesting thing. He's not only willing to associate, he's willing to eat, be a part of their lives. Many tax collectors and sinners, we're going to talk about that word in a second, came and ate with him and his disciples. And this really ticks off the religious leaders because when the Pharisees, who were the chief of the religious leaders, saw this, they asked his disciples, "Why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners?" On hearing this, Jesus said, "It's not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. But go and learn what this means. I desire mercy, not sacrifice, for I have not come to call the righteous." And he's being facetious there. People who think they're right, people who think they have it all together, people who don't think they need anybody else or any help, they think they've arrived. He said, "You know what? I can't help them, but I've actually come to help sinners." Now, I know, maybe that term offends you a little bit. And I think it's because that term has been twisted and distorted a little bit. Often when we use the word sinners, or you've heard that, you think of people who are really bad, right? People who've done really bad things and are really corrupt, or maybe it was used in your context as an exclusive word, like you are not good enough. And that's not what Jesus meant when he said sinners. You see, the original word for that literally means someone who has just missed the mark. It means that you were created to be someone, and for whatever reason, maybe it was something that happened to you or something you did on your own, you weren't able to be that. You missed the mark. You know, when I was in high school, there were a couple of guys, and they were not the sharpest knife in the drawer, if you know what I mean. But they decided that just throwing the javelin wasn't fun enough. They thought, no, we're going to add an element of excitement by trying to catch the javelin. Yeah, you heard me right. They were going to play catch with the javelin. Well, you can imagine how that went. It didn't work out well. It slipped through one of the guy's hands. It literally went right through his chest and pinned him to the ground. The ambulance had to come and literally cut the javelin away from him so they could take him to the hospital. Now, he survived because the javelin missed his heart by inches, but they weren't using that device the way it was intended. And here's what I've learned. I've learned that many of us don't use our lives the way that they were intended. And I don't need to tell you this. You know it firsthand. You know what it's like not to be who you were supposed to be and suffer the consequences. You even know, even in a greater way, what it's like when someone else isn't the way that they are supposed to be. And you had to experience the consequences of that. So when Jesus says, I've come to call sinners, he's saying, I've come to call people just like you and me, who realize, who are honest enough to say, I am not who I am supposed to be. I need help. And Jesus says, come follow me. And again, that's not because he wants you to squeeze you into some kind of mold or make you jump through hoops or fit into a box or to control you. No, quite the opposite. The Bible says he's also a loving father. And I don't know what it's like for you if you have kids or not, but with my kids, I wanted them to be the very best version of who they could be. And sometimes that meant I encouraged them. Sometimes it meant I disciplined them, but I was trying my very best as a loving dad to steer them to who I knew they could be. And that's all Jesus is saying. He's saying, come follow me. Why? Because there's something more for you. You were made for more than what you're experiencing right now. And he also knew that the most powerful motivation was invitation. Derek Sievers, in his TED Talk, How to Make a Movement, uses the analogy that he saw at a rock concert. You see, a leader needs to have guts. A leader is one who stands out, maybe is a little bit different, but calls people to something new. And he is easy to follow, and he invites others to follow him. Now, what's critical, though, is that the first follower must come along to demonstrate to others how to follow. It's that first follower who takes the risk out of the equation and demonstrates that this is a better way to do it. And the leader embraces him as an equal. Now, this is significant because now it's not just about one person, it's about them. And this first follower calls others. So maybe the important thing is that it's the follower who actually makes a leader. And now we see a crowd that forms, and this turns momentum into a tipping point, and now we've got movement. So maybe the secret to every great movement isn't a single solitary leader, but rather the first followers who show others how to follow as well. Okay, so what does this all have to do with you and me right now? How can we apply this? Well, I'm going to help you. That in a world that says you need to be a leader, Jesus actually says you need to be a follower. Maybe the mistake we make is we're all trying to make something of ourselves. We're all trying to be the one in front, leading the way, and the truth is that just doesn't work out because there's only one perfect example of what love really looks like, and his name is Jesus. And the truth is, he invites us to follow him. And what we learned in that last video is that by following, we actually become a leader. So maybe the goal for 2021 isn't to try to change the world on your own, but rather to follow the one who already has. That by simply trusting him and following in his way, you can experience fully, I mean fully, who you were created to be. And so that's what this series is all about. And I want to invite you to join us as we go through this week by week. Next week, we're going to talk about this idea that there's extravagant love. When Jesus said, come follow me, it was rooted out of a heart, a motivation for the very best for you, his love. And then we're going to learn in the week after that it is going to take some discipline. There's going to be some sacrifice because Jesus said, I will make you something. And there's a process of that. And then the week after that, we're going to talk about powerful purpose. When Jesus said, I'm going to make you fishers of men, what did he mean by that? Well, he meant that there's something more for you. And then finally, we're going to learn that it requires an extravagant vision, or extraordinary vision that, yeah, what you're doing might be okay, but what if there was something better? And so these men, Andrew and Simon Peter, knew there was something better, and so they immediately followed him. And so really, these next few weeks are going to be an invitation to follow Jesus. In our sermon series entitled, Dear 2020, We Need to Talk. It's this idea that we need to maybe say goodbye to our past and yes to God's future, his best for us. So I just have two final questions as we approach the new year. The first one is your life too small? Like, there's nothing wrong with fishing, nothing. But for Simon and Andrew, God had something more for them. And what if God has something more for you? What if you've actually settled for something that's way too small? And the second question is the vision or the target in your life far too limiting? Are you actually aiming too low? The reality is that God is calling you and I to something better, something greater. And the great thing about it is it simply comes in following him and inviting others to follow him as well. And so today, I want to close by giving you an opportunity to respond to what you've heard. Maybe you're here, and if you're honest, you realize you've missed the target, you've missed the mark. If you're honest in this moment, you are not fully who you should be, and you know that. Or maybe you've experienced the pain or the consequence of others, and it's hurt you, it's limited you, and today you want to shed your past and embrace something new, the best that God has for you. If that is you, I'm going to invite you to join me in a simple prayer. For some of you, this is going to be a refresher. You've prayed this before, but you need to pray it again today. And for others of you, this is going to be the very first time. But it's simply a prayer of invitation. And so if you're here today and you want something new in your life, and you're willing to acknowledge that Jesus is the target, and you are willing to say, I will follow you into what you created for me, I'm going to invite you to pray this prayer with me. So Father, I thank you that you love us. Jesus, I thank you that you came into this world to show us what love really does look like. And I acknowledge that I am a sinner. I have missed the mark. I just am not who I should be, sometimes in my thoughts, my words, my deeds. But I thank you that you are gracious and compassionate, and you call me back. You invite me back into a life that matters. You say, come follow me. And in that, it's not a condemnation or a restriction. It's actually an invitation into freedom and into liberty, into purpose. And so today, I acknowledge I need you. I acknowledge I have fallen short of who I was supposed to be, who you created me to be. And today, I am making a fresh commitment, maybe a new commitment, to follow you. God, I need your best, and I want to be who you made me. In this new year, help me to follow you. I pray in Jesus' name, amen.
Well, what a great challenge today from our pastor, Pastor Bill. And I want to encourage you to take some time to reflect on some of the things that we've been able to talk about today, even as we reflect on 2020 and we move forward into 2021. Maybe today you need to engage with some of the discussion questions. I want to encourage you to do that with whoever you're watching this with. Take some time to just begin to think through this next year. How is God going to work and how is he going to move in your life? I want to encourage you to make space for that. And also we want to help you on that journey with others. Again, the ways that you could do that are through our Central at Home experience. You can join a group. Don't forget our 21 days of prayer coming up January 11th. It's going to be great. All the details are on our website. You can text the word Central to 905-937-5610 or head over to centralcc.ca. I hope you have an amazing week. We'll see you back here next week.